My beloved child, wait, before you let your thoughts wander, feel this moment for what it truly is, because something quiet, something almost invisible, has already begun to shift in a place you cannot see, and yet, it is deeply connected to you. There was a conversation, not loud, not dramatic, just a simple, honest exchange, and in that space, your name appeared. Not by chance, not casually, but with a kind of curiosity that lingers longer than words usually do. And when the mother of the person you love spoke about you, there was a pause, a thoughtful stillness, as if she was searching for the right way to describe something she couldn't fully explain. And here is where it becomes quietly powerful, because what she said wasn't ordinary. It wasn't something that fades the moment it's spoken. It stayed in the room, it echoed, it made even her reflect on why she felt that way. She didn't speak with certainty, but with intrigue. She said, you seem to have something that is not loud, not obvious, but undeniable. And as those words settled, even the one you love couldn't respond immediately, because deep down, they knew, she wasn't wrong. Pause for a second, because this is not about being seen on the surface. This is about being felt, without trying. There is a difference. Many people are noticed, but very few are quietly remembered after they leave. And somehow, without forcing anything, without proving anything, you have stepped into that rare space where your presence speaks even in your absence. Don't skip this part, because what is unfolding here is not accidental. It is something that has been building over time, without you even realizing it. But listen carefully, because the most surprising part hasn't been said directly yet. When she tried to explain further, her words slowed down, almost as if language itself was too limited. She described you as someone who seems to have a calm strength, not the kind that demands attention, but the kind that holds everything together silently. And that realization didn't just affect her, it reached the heart of the one you love in a way they couldn't ignore anymore. Something important is waiting for you in this understanding, because this is not just about how someone described you, it is about what that description reveals. It shows that you are being seen from a place beyond first impressions, beyond assumptions, beyond expectations. And that kind of recognition, it changes things, slowly, gently, but deeply. And yet, there is something she didn't say out loud, something she felt but couldn't fully express. A question that formed quietly in her mind, about you, about your energy, about why you feel different from the rest. And that question, it didn't end there. It carried forward, into thoughts, into reflections, into a growing curiosity that is still unfolding even now. Stay till the end, not because something dramatic is about to happen, but because something meaningful is already happening. The way people begin to understand you, the way they try to place you into words but can't fully succeed, this is not confusion, it is recognition in its early stage. And recognition like this, it always leads somewhere. Now here is the part that shifts everything just a little more, because after that conversation ended, silence followed. But it wasn't empty silence, it was filled with thought. The kind of silence where someone replays what was said, over and over, trying to understand why it felt so true. And in that silence, your presence didn't fade, it became clearer. So ask yourself this. What is it about you that people feel before they understand? What is it that doesn't need explanation, yet leaves an impression that stays? Because whatever it is, it has already started opening doors, quietly, without announcement, without urgency. And just as this realization begins to settle, something else is about to come into view, something that was noticed next, something even more unexpected, and it carries a deeper meaning than anyone initially realized. Something subtle shifted after that moment, not in the way people usually expect, but in the quiet spaces where thoughts grow roots. Because what was said about you didn't just stay as words, it began to turn into a feeling that lingered long after the conversation ended. And the most interesting part, no one tried to force it, no one tried to define it quickly, it simply stayed there, like a question that refuses to disappear. And somewhere between silence and reflection, the one you love started noticing something they hadn't paid attention to before. Not something new, but something that had always been there, quietly present. The way you carry yourself, the way your energy doesn't demand attention yet somehow holds it, the way— Pause here for a moment, because this is where it becomes more personal than you think. You may not have tried to show anything, you may not have even been aware of what you carry within you, and yet, it has been seen. Not fully understood, not completely explained, but deeply felt. And that feeling, it creates a kind of curiosity that doesn't fade easily. Don't skip this, because something important is unfolding beneath the surface. The words spoken about you have started to connect pieces together, pieces that the one you love didn't even realize were scattered. They began to remember small moments, your silence, your reactions, the way you respond without needing to say too much. And suddenly, those small moments didn't feel small anymore. And then, something unexpected happened. The mother, she didn't bring it up again directly, but her behavior shifted in a way that couldn't be ignored. Not obvious, not dramatic, just a subtle openness, a quiet interest, as if she had decided to observe more closely without saying a word. Because sometimes, when something feels real, people don't question it loudly, they watch, they wait, they understand in their own time. Stay till the end, because this part carries a meaning that is still unfolding. The energy around you has begun to move in a way that is not forced, not planned, just naturally aligning. And the one you love, they are starting to feel it too. Not as pressure, not as expectation, but as a quiet pull they can't explain. The kind of pull that makes them pause, that makes them think, that makes them wonder why your presence feels different from anyone else. And here is something even deeper, something that wasn't spoken at all, but felt by both of them in different ways. There is a sense about you, as if you understand more than you show, as if you see things others miss, as if you carry a calm awareness that doesn't need validation. And that, it creates both comfort and curiosity at the same time. Something important is waiting for you in this realization, because being seen like this doesn't happen often. It doesn't happen through effort, it happens through authenticity, through the quiet way you exist without trying to prove anything. And now, that authenticity has started to create a ripple, one that is moving through their thoughts, their feelings, their understanding. But listen closely, because this is where it gently deepens. The one you love hasn't said anything to you yet, not directly, not clearly, but inside, something has already changed. The way they think about you, the way they feel your absence, the way your presence lingers even when you're not there, it has all become more intense, more real, more undeniable. And just when it seems like everything is settling into place, another layer begins to reveal itself, something even more unexpected, something that brings a new understanding of why all of this is happening now, and why your presence has become impossible to overlook. There is a moment that no one speaks about, yet everything begins to change inside it. Not when words are exchanged, not when decisions are made, but in that quiet instant where realization becomes impossible to ignore. And that moment, it has already begun. Because after all the thinking, all the silent observations, something inside the one you love started to settle into a truth they could no longer push aside. It wasn't loud. It didn't arrive with certainty. It came gently, like a feeling that had been trying to reach the surface for a long time. And now, it was finally being allowed to breathe. Pause for a second, because this is where the energy shifts in a way that can't be undone. They began to see you not just as someone they care about, but as someone who carries a kind of presence that feels grounding, safe, real. And that realization didn't come from anything you said, it came from everything you didn't need to say. Don't skip this, because something deeper is unfolding right now. The words spoken by the mother, they didn't just stay as an observation, they became a mirror. A mirror that made the one you love look at their own feelings more honestly than before. And in that reflection, they noticed something they hadn't fully admitted to themselves, until now. There is a quiet truth forming, one that has been there beneath the surface all along. And it's this: your presence doesn't create confusion, it creates clarity. Not instantly, not all at once, but in layers, in moments, in realizations that arrive when they are ready to be seen. And here is where it becomes even more meaningful, because the mother, without realizing it, planted a seed. Not a forced idea, not an expectation, but a simple awareness. And that awareness is now growing in a way that no one is trying to control. It's unfolding naturally, gently, but with a depth that cannot be ignored. Stay till the end, because something important is waiting for you in this shift. The one you love has started to feel a sense of calm when they think about you, a kind of stillness that feels different from anything they've experienced before. It's not overwhelming, it's not chaotic, it's steady. And sometimes, that kind of feeling is the most powerful of all. But listen closely, because this is the part no one has said out loud yet. Along with that calm, there is also a growing awareness, a question that keeps returning in quiet moments. Why does being around you feel easier? Why does your presence seem to bring a kind of peace they didn't know they needed? And that question, it doesn't fade. It stays. It lingers. It deepens. Something important is waiting for you in that question, because questions like this don't appear without reason. They come when something real is beginning to take shape, when something meaningful is slowly revealing itself, without pressure, without force. And then, another shift begins. The mother, she notices it too. Not directly, not through words, but through the subtle changes in the one you love. The way they speak, the way they pause, the way your name carries a slightly different tone now. And in that noticing, her curiosity becomes something more, something quieter, but stronger. Because now, it's no longer just about what she felt about you. It's about what she is beginning to see, happening because of you. And this is where everything starts to move into a deeper space, a space where understanding turns into something more personal, more real, more undeniable. The kind of space where people don't just observe anymore, they begin to feel involved, connected, invested in what might be unfolding next. So ask yourself this: what happens when someone who once only wondered about you begins to quietly believe in what they're seeing? Because that answer, it hasn't fully revealed itself yet. And just as that belief begins to take shape, something unexpected is about to surface, something that shifts the entire meaning of what was said about you, and why it matters more now than ever before. And then, without warning, a realization begins to rise where no one expected it, not loud, not dramatic, just a quiet certainty forming in the background, like something that was always there but is only now being seen clearly. Because what started as a simple observation, has slowly turned into something that feels meaningful. The mother, she doesn't say much, but her silence has changed. It's no longer just neutral, it carries a kind of awareness. The kind that watches, that understands without needing proof, that senses something unfolding without asking questions. And this shift, it doesn't go unnoticed. The one you love feels it too. Pause here, because this is where everything deepens in a way that can't be reversed. They begin to notice how naturally your presence fits into their thoughts. Not forced, not imagined, but real. Like a space that was empty before, now quietly filled. And the more they try to understand it, the more they realize, it doesn't need explanation. Don't skip this moment, because something important is happening beneath the surface. The way they think about you has started to change, not suddenly, but steadily. It's no longer just about connection, it's about meaning, about why you feel different, why your energy stays with them longer, why your absence is felt more clearly than before. And here is where something unexpected unfolds. The mother, she begins to trust that feeling she couldn't explain earlier. Not fully, not completely, but enough to let it exist without resistance. And that alone creates space. Space where doubt used to be. Space where questions once lingered. Now, there is a quiet openness. Stay till the end, because this shift carries more than it seems. When someone who once only observed begins to accept what they feel, something changes in the entire dynamic. It softens the unseen barriers, it allows things to move more freely, more naturally. And the one you love, they begin to feel that openness too. It's subtle, but powerful. They no longer feel like they have to hold back their thoughts about you, no longer feel the same hesitation when your name comes up, no longer question the connection in the same way. Instead, there is a growing sense of ease, as if something that once felt uncertain is now slowly becoming clear. But listen closely, because this is where it becomes even more personal. There is a moment, a very quiet one, where they find themselves thinking about you, not because they tried to, but because it just happened. And in that moment, they feel something they can't ignore anymore. Not intensity, not pressure, but a deep, steady pull. And that pull, it doesn't come from confusion. It comes from recognition. Something important is waiting for you in this realization, because being recognized in this way is rare. It's not about being perfect, it's about being real in a way that resonates beyond words. And now, that resonance has reached both of them, in different ways, but with the same quiet understanding. And just when it feels like everything is settling into this calm clarity, another layer begins to reveal itself. Because the mother, she starts to notice something even more unexpected. Not just how she feels about you, not just what she senses, but how the one you love is changing because of you. The way they carry themselves, the way they speak, the calmness that seems to follow them more often now. And this is where her understanding begins to shift into something deeper, something that no longer questions your presence, but begins to see its value. So now, something new is forming. Not spoken, not defined, but real. And just as this silent acceptance begins to grow stronger, something is about to happen, something small, almost unnoticeable at first, but it carries a meaning that changes everything that follows.